I mean, they bring food for them. He bring two of him boys wey dey take care of the work. A misunderstanding between Oga Zeke and him boys wey dey take care of the work here.
In Rivers State, Nigeria, another shocking story has emerged, a chilling reminder of how the darkness of crime continues to haunt innocent lives. It is the story of a young man, Hereba Gospel Dinabari, kidnapped, betrayed, and killed in cold blood. Despite the ransom being paid for his freedom, he was never released. Instead, his lifeless body was later found deep inside a forest, tied to a tree, abandoned by the very man who promised to let him go.
Welcome to Africa Today Crime Channel. Do you know liking our video helps it grow faster? Please, today don't forget to like our video, subscribe, and share. Thank you.
Today, we piece together what happened, how he was taken, how the ransom was paid, and the terrifying final hours of his life. Police operatives in Rivers State launched what they described as a sting operation on July 14, 2020. Detectives from the anti-kidnapping unit arrested two men, 25-year-old Osundu Uchendu and 23-year-old Amebulem Amos. These young men, now in custody, are accused of masterminding a series of kidnappings across Port Harcourt, but it was their chilling confession that shocked even hardened investigators. They admitted to abducting Hereba Dinabari, tying him up to a tree in a forest and leaving him there until death claimed him. It all began on a quiet Friday evening, May 15, 2020. Hereba had just closed from his daily routine. Unknown to him, two young men had been watching his movements for days. The kidnappers trailed him as he drove through the woody axis of Port Harcourt. At a lonely stretch of road, a vehicle suddenly blocked his path. Before he could react, masked men jumped out, one pointing a gun at his chest, another smashed his car window. In seconds, Hereba was forced out of his Toyota Spider, blindfolded, and shoved into the back of their car. Witnesses later recalled hearing a brief struggle, but the kidnappers moved quickly, vanishing into the night. For Hereba, that was the beginning of a nightmare. The journey into the forest was long and cruel. The suspect confessed that they drove him around for hours, deliberately confusing him so he could not recognize directions. Finally, they reached a fake bush in Alesa, Aleme local government area. Under the cover of darkness, they dragged him out. The forest was damp, filled with the sound of insects and the smell of wet earth. Hereba, still blindfolded, pleaded for his life.
As we carry the man, keep the for inside bush. I mean, they bring food for them. He bring two of him boys wey dey take care of the work. A misunderstanding between Oga Zeke and him boys wey dey take care of the work here. I make them kill the man because the him boys think say him be wan set them up. Say he don't collect money, no one give them. Maybe one use government set them up, so they need to kill the man and come up for the bush.
But his captors were not moved. They tied his hands behind his back with a rope, forced him to his knees, and secured him against a tree. His cries for mercy echoed through the silent forest, but only the leaves heard him. Back in the city, the kidnappers reached out to Hereba's family. Their demand was clear: pay 1 million naira for his release. Fearing for his safety, the family gathered the ransom. It was delivered as instructed, quietly, without involving security agents at first. The kidnappers collected the money, but Hereba was never returned. Days turned into weeks. The family waited for their phones, hoping to hear his voice again. Instead, silence. When the police became involved, the trial was already cold. Yet, detectives from the anti-kidnapping unit pressed on. They tracked phone calls, monitored movements, and gathered intelligence. On July 14th, nearly 2 months after Hereba's disappearance, their efforts paid off. In a daring sting operation, they arrested Osundu Uchendu and Amebulem Amos. Under interrogation, the two men broke down. They admitted everything: how they abducted Eraba, how they tied him to a tree in the forest, and how they left him there even after ransom was collected. They led detectives back to the forest in Alessa. What officers found there was heartbreaking. The forest was thick with undergrowth. After trekking deep inside, guided by the suspect, police stumbled upon the site. There, tied against a tree, was the decomposing body of Ereba Gospel Dinabari. His clothes were torn, his wrist still bound, the rope still cutting into his skin. The stench of decay filled the air. The silence of the forest was deafening for detectives. It was a scene of horror, a life cut short by greed and wickedness.
The matter was reported to the anti-kidnapping unit of the command, and they immediately swung into action, and they spread their dragnets. In the course of the investigation, one of the suspects was arrested. His confession led to the arrest of another suspect. Now, the further confessions took the men led by their commander, anti-kidnapping unit, to this forest.
It is a great loss to us as a family. He was a very promising young man who has been struggling to forge ahead in life, only to come to this situation. I really don't know how to express my feelings concerning this.
Rivers State Police Public Relations Officer Nnamdi Omoni confirmed the incident while addressing journalists in Port Harcourt. He explained that the victim's car was recovered and that the suspect had confessed to being part of several kidnapping operations within Woji, Abuloma, Peter Odili Road, and Eleme communities. Omoni assured the public that investigations were ongoing and that the suspect would be charged to court. But this is not just about two men. Their arrest reveals something much darker: a network of kidnappers who use the cover of forest to commit their crimes. Investigators believe that victims are often tied to trees for days while families negotiate ransom. Some survive, others, like Eraba, do not. Experts say the method of tying victims to trees is deliberate. It immobilizes the victim, reduces the risk of escape, and leave no permanent camp to be traced by authorities. It is cruel but effective for criminals. Now let's talk about the final hours of Eraba's life. Imagine the final hours of Eraba's life alone in the forest, tied to a tree, listening to the sound of night creatures, hoping someone would come. Perhaps he thought of his family, perhaps he prayed for rescue, but no one came in time. The case of Ereba Gospel Dinabaris is a reminder of how fragile life can be in the face of violent crime. Despite paying ransom, his family lost him forever. For investigators, the arrest of his killers is justice, but for his loved ones, nothing can replace the man they lost. And for the community, it is a warning that crime continues to lurk in the shadows, and that even after ransom is paid, some victims never make it home. This is the story of Eraba Gospel Dinabari, kidnapped, tied to a tree, and left to die. Another victim of greed, another life cut short, another reminder that the fight against kidnapping in Nigeria is far from over.